Upon return from Sharm el-Sheikh, the foreign minister remained fully engaged with our negotiating team at COP27, as well as important players in the international media, to maintain the political momentum that was built towards a tangible outcome on this account. Even much before the COP, the foreign minister undertook vigorous climate diplomacy. While drawing global attention to the flood devastation, the foreign minister made concerted outreach efforts with the leaders from developing South and like-minded countries of the developed North for building consensus towards a meaningful outcome on loss and damage financing. In this context, he visited UN headquarters in New York, Washington, D.C., Berlin, where on all these capitals and cities, he fought the climate battle. Excellencies, securing agreement on the establishment of Loss and Damage Fund was our core objective at the COP. We felt this urgency, as you can imagine, was even felt more rigorously after the floods that hit us in the summer. Our strategy to achieve this was grounded in strong political will, demonstrated right from the top, and commitment, and it was informed by science and extreme climate threats and challenges which has been faced by Pakistan. Now, as Minister for Climate Change mentioned, the stars were truly aligned, and the stars always have to be aligned for humanity and for the global North-South together to be able to achieve anything in the world. You know, God has to bless us with his special blessings for us to be able to do what had seemed impossible for 3 long decades. Pakistan had the chair of G77 plus China. That played a major, major role. Pakistan's role was crucial, both in the run-up to and during the COP. We were entrusted to secure the shared objectives and create bridges with our partners to forge agreements. I'm glad that we were able to deliver on the expectations of this very, very demanding group. Let me take you very quickly through this journey. The spade work was done at the official level within the G77 and China for seeking a specific COP agenda item of loss and damage financing. Then, as chair of G77 and China, foreign ministers meeting, the foreign minister chaired a meeting, which was in September in New York, where we agreed to pursue this matter as a priority for COP. After arrival at the COP, Pakistan steered the group in securing inclusion of the item on financing loss and damage in the COP's agenda for the first time in 3 decades. I think this was the first big win. This inclusion was only agreed among all parties after protracted negotiations, which were concluded hours before the inaugural session. Adoption of the agenda was the first step to initiate formal discussion on the creation of the dedicated fund. After 2 weeks of intense negotiations that the climate minister has so eloquently put in front of us, consensus was finally reached on the establishment of the fund for addressing loss and damage. The COP had to be then extended for 2 days amid the deadlock in negotiations. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the creation of this fund is widely recognized as the major outcome of COP27. And now, as I thank Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry of Egypt, the president of COP27, for his constructive role during the entire process, let me also appreciate and acknowledge the flexibility and understanding demonstrated by our developed country partners, many of them represented their ambassadors here, which did lead to a meaningful outcome. This was truly a win-win. Finally, we agreed to agree rather than agreed to disagree for 3 long decades. Excellencies, unity among the developing countries was crucial. Pakistan made hectic efforts to keep the G77 and China united. We thank all developing countries for their consistent support and confidence in Pakistan's chairmanship of this largest bloc of developing nations. Whereas the leadership was clearly provided by the foreign minister, I want to appreciate the hard work and dedication that our 7-member core negotiating team from the Foreign Office did. I call them the unsung heroes. And I want to mention over here that we are very proud at the Foreign Office to have come up with this methodology of making sure that no matter where in the world they were serving, the core climate experts team continued to be engaged with the climate process throughout. So this is now an island of excellence that we've created within the Foreign Office, which continues on this work. This team was most ably led by Ambassador Nabil Munir, the chair of the G77 in China. And being Pakistan's lead negotiator, also I think his role was unparalleled in what he was able to do. He was supported by Director Generals Farooq Iqbal Khan and Numan Bashir Bhatti, Director Jawad Ali, Councillor Imran Khan, First Secretary Ali Waqas, and Deputy Secretary at the Prime Minister's Office, Haseeb Gohar. So the Prime Minister's Office also had a contribution to it, to the technical team. They worked tirelessly to ensure that COP27 did not end without the creation of a dedicated loss and damage fund. Pakistan's permanent representative at the UN, Ambassador Munir Akram, also remained engaged during the entire process. I wanted to specifically take the names because these people remain engaged with this process even before the coming and going of various annual COPs. They remain consistently involved with this process. Our Minister for Climate and Change, Ms. Khan, her role has been pivotal, well celebrated, well acknowledged. But I do want to also mention the many experts in the climate ministry who worked with her, and obviously not forget the other unsung heroes and sometimes sung heroes, the people who from various NGOs and from the civil society who have been at it. So Pakistan really, a force came together with many, as I say, all streams falling together and the river finally running through it. Most importantly, let me take this opportunity to thank the person who steered the ship of this country, the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Without his robust leadership, constant guidance, and constant, really allowing everyone to feel like they owned it and providing the ownership and the leadership, he enabled this diplomatic success. And today's event and him chairing it and hosting it is a demonstration of the leadership that he provides to this, has continuously provided to this process. Ladies and gentlemen, let me end by saying that the establishment of this fund and the constitution of the transitional committee is just the beginning, as has been mentioned by the Minister also. Much is still needed to be done. We hope that the transitional committee would complete its work to operationalize the fund at the next COP in UAE. It is equally important, and I want to emphasize over here, that once operationalized, it is a resource to support the developing countries hit by climate-induced disasters. This would truly be a welcome signal from the global north to the global south. This will also be a signal which will build the confidence and trust that has been missing in action for far too long. Pakistan will remain engaged, deeply engaged, to make sure that this fund that we have only helped create with all partners and developed world, that we see it to its fruition, inshallah, and to make it a success. Cooperation and collaboration, let us not forget, our friends, must remain the hallmark of our endeavors.
Thank you very much, Madam Minister of State. The stars may have been aligned, but what I find remarkable is that these catastrophic floods took place not 6 months ago. And what we have seen is coordination amongst ministries at the international level to bring almost something that was a dream into reality. This takes vision, and it takes commitment, and it takes leadership. And this, I think, we found in you, Mr. Prime Minister, and I'd like to invite you now to please give some remarks, Mr. Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif, sir.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable ministers, parliamentarians, ambassadors, high commissioners, excellencies, government officials, ladies and gentlemen, assalamu alaikum and a very good evening. I'd like to thank you all for joining us this evening to appreciate the efforts of Government of Pakistan, politicians, experts, bureaucrats, provincial governments for achieving something which was almost well nigh impossible. I will not repeat what Muhtarma Shari Rahman Sahiba or MOS Hina Rabbani Khar Sahiba has already conveyed to you, because it will be a repetition, and I wouldn't want to come in the way of your wonderful dinner you're going to have with your families and in hotels and wherever. I wish you a wonderful evening. But let me say very candidly that it all started back in June this year, when Pakistan faced the most devastating floods, and as a result, 33 million people were affected, 1,800 people died, including children, and loss of agriculture, industry, infrastructure, livestock, and the estimate is about $30 billion. In that, I would like to avail of this opportunity to once again express my deep gratitude to all those countries who came to help Pakistan at that point in time with kind and cash. Some of the reps sitting in front of me, I know them by their faces. Some are not here. But I want to say in no uncertain terms that this contribution on your part was most valuable in this hour of need. And then, of course, within Pakistan, philanthropists, they came forward and contributed immensely to support our brothers and sisters in Sindh and Balochistan and other parts of Pakistan. And then, of course, provincial governments did a remarkable job, particularly the government of Sindh, led by Chief Minister Shah Sahab, and in Balochistan, Chief Minister Bazinjo Sahab, and of course other provincial governments as well, along with NDMA and PDMAs. And what Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto was able to reflect at international forums, along with Shari Rahman Sahiba, and a remarkable job done by our Information Minister to make all this happen, was a reflection of what provincial governments and these institutions had done back home during those trying months, June, July, August, September. Those of you who have been to these places, I know, are for being there. It was nothing but sea flowing all over, and houses and villages and cities completely inundated, submerged. And at that time, the people of Pakistan, federal government and provincial governments and related institutions did a remarkable job. And it is for the first time that international forum, through a dedicated teamwork, Pakistan's voice was heard, loud and clear. Loss and damage was something like a sleeping beauty for decades. But for the first time, it was articulated most ably by our team. led by Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto, by Mohtarama Shahri Rahman Sahiba, and she did a terrific job at Sharm el-Sheikh, and I am a witness to all this. Bilawal Bhutto made a fantastic job as Foreign Minister, interacting with his counterparts, trying to convey the message that we are seeking justice and not charity. Ladies and gentlemen, I have deliberately avoided, and we have completely avoided using the word reparations, because that is harsh, that is not proper, that is gracious, it is not diplomatic parlance. But certainly, we are seeking justice, because what has happened to us, I hope and pray to Allah Almighty, won't happen to any other country in times to come. But what Shahri Rahman Sahib has said, she has put words in my mouth, it's her words, that what has happened in Pakistan will not stay in Pakistan. And this, unfortunately, is hard and harsh truth. And therefore, our friends in global north, they should, and they have, realized the importance of this challenge. And that's why it's been a remarkable agreement in Sharm el-Sheikh. Loss and damage is now a reality. But then, it's not about these agreements and understandings. It's about practical implementation, manifestation of these commitments. What has happened in the past is past. $100 billion were committed, but to what level these have been contributed is a big question mark. Therefore, I would make use of this opportunity. It is purely a ceremony, believe me, not to extend our bowl, because we are not extending our bowl. One day soon we are going to get rid of it. But this is something different. Pakistan has become victim of something which we have nothing to do with. Our contribution in these greenhouse gases is less than 1%. And then we can go on and discuss a host of list of countries where emissions are much higher than they had committed at various forums. But I wish, and you would all want to pray to Almighty that this should not happen to other countries. But that's a wishful thinking. Unless and until we stand up and accept the challenge and make practical demonstration of our commitments globally. I would like to place on record my deep appreciation to all those government officials, be in Foreign Office or Ministry of Climate Change, our diplomats, expert in this field, Ministry of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Ahsan Iqbal's Ministry, Planning, thank you, Minister of Information, and each and every Pakistani who has contributed in making the world realize that what has happened to us, and this must not happen to any other country, and that we are seeking justice and not charity. This evening, ladies and gentlemen, I had desired to hold this ceremony just to acknowledge your teamwork, splendid work, and outstanding performance at various forums. Unfortunately, our foreign minister could not join us because of some technical fault in the plane which was carrying him to Islamabad, and some other ministers who are probably busy in some very other productive meetings, and I can understand that. All of them have done a remarkable job, and Rafi Alam, I have a lot of respect for him, not because he has been my friend, rather he has been criticizing my, job in Punjab as Chief Minister, but I have found in him a man who speaks truthfully and really comes across somebody who has pain for this country and who wants to do something for improving conditions, living conditions in Pakistan. Much later, we became friends, although we meet sparingly. He then headed as chairman of Punjab Lahore Waste Management Board, and then he saw for himself what a remarkable job he did in waste management. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful evening. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my ambassadors and high commissioners sitting here who've been great friends of Pakistan, done remarkable contribution to see Pakistan going forward as a democratic dispensation and improving its lot through untiring efforts. Thank you very much. Pakistan Zindabad.
वज़ीर-ए-आज़म मोहम्मद शहबाज शरीफ इस्लामाबाद में तकरीब से खिताब कर रहे थे। उन्होंने कहा कि हालिया सैलाब से पाकिस्तान को $30 मिलियन का नुकसान हुआ। तमाम दोस्त ममालिक ने आगे बढ़कर मुश्किल की इस घड़ी में पाकिस्तान की मदद की। मुश्किल वक्त में की गई इस मदद को हमेशा याद रखा जाएगा। उन्होंने कहा कि वज़ीर ख़ारिजा बिलावल भुट्टो, शेरी रहमान और वज़ीर इत्तलात ने आलमी फोरम्स पर अहम किरदार किया, कामयाब सिफारतकारी की और मौसमियाती तब्दीलियों के हवाले से असरात को कामयाबी के साथ उजागर किया। न्यूज़ स्टूडियो से फिल वक्त इतना।